Welcome, everyone. This is Federico, and this is the Cuttle live stream. We're doing this every Thursday. And here we try to answer questions that people have submitted, and also to, kind of sometimes there are requests to do things with the Cuttle editor or modifying templates and things like that. That's like the purpose of these. So I'm always happy to get, requests for tutorials or questions. And so Terry Ann sent this one on the Facebook group, asking if there could be a tutorial about insetting letters like these. And so the answer the answer is really simple. How to do these, but like this kind of gives me an opportunity to show you how to set it up and how to try other treatments for this kind of sign. So I think we can get started. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments. I'm watching those. And so I found the source for this image in particular. I found this Etsy store. It's called Thistle Dual, and I don't think we are stealing their design. I think this is like a kind of well-known way of doing things, and they're not selling SVGs. And you're gonna make your own choices with the design, like the font and the look and everything like that. So I think it's worthwhile, trying it out. So, but one thing I want to look at this is one thing I want to kind of look here is, like, yes, they're using this kind of inset style. They are doing, like, the size of this is fairly big. Like, if you look at the options here, they're doing an 18-inch, a 24-inch, and a 30-inch, and they're charging $80 for the smaller one. And so, yeah, this takes work. So it's like, another thing I know people are doing is that the backer, you can buy the pre-made blanks, these big circles. So you probably are not cutting that on your laser cutter, but it is still nice to have like a reference for that. So so let's do it. Let's jump into it. So here we go. I'm gonna start with a completely blank project. I guess I'm gonna start by calling it the initial sign. I suppose this this could change. And so I think my first step is to like get a sense for the size. And so I'm gonna just grab a circle, place it in the center of the canvas, and then I want to size it. So let's use that 18-inch diameter as our base to do things. So I'm gonna just go here to the right, type 18 inches, and now I just need to resize these. But we're not going to be cutting out the circle, so we want to turn it into a guide. So if I select the circle and I go over here, there's an option that says show guides, and so it now changes to show shapes as guides. So this is an example of how you can turn any shape or any design into a guide. And what a guide is like something that you just use to create your design. But when you export it, that's not going to be there. It's not going to be like a shape to cut. So it's a bit like a ruler that you kind of use while designing, but it's not what you're going to be cutting. All right, so let's do this. So I got my guide. I like naming my components as I go. I'm just call it initial and name. And so I'm gonna start with that big initial. So I'm gonna use some basic text by dragging it onto a canvas. My example is gonna have an H. So I'm just gonna type a capital H, uppercase. And I want to try this size it something like that. And I'm just going to like nudge it up a little bit so it's like fully centered. And just to kind of go with the inspiration here, they use this kind of like serif font. So it has like, little feet. And so I found this font that I liked. This one, so that one has like a very, very prominent, serif things on the in there. And actually, I kind of like the thicker one. You know, you can select different options for that font. I think the 700 is thick, and that's mostly because if I'm going to be cutting it, I don't want to like mess around with like having two thin lines or something like that. And then let's type the name right there in the middle. So they didn't use necessarily connected text in this example because the H is separate, but all the other letters are connected. So I'm going to go ahead and use the connected text feature. So I'm going to search for connected. And I'm just going to place it right there in the center. And I'm going to do my friend's name, Hartley. And of course, we want that size to be much bigger, like something like that, or even bigger. And I'm going to try one of the interesting fonts here. What is this one called? When you use connected text, there are this set of handwriting fonts, and you can choose from those. The one I like is called Emily Bonza. It's like, you know, it's like a very calligraphy-like font with like swirly things and everything. And with this font, I want to make things a little bigger. So something like that. And I'm going to just nudge it down with my arrow keys just so it's a little lower on the... If I hold shift and do arrow keys, I get like bigger jumps. So that's like my basic design. Now I just want to give it a fill because of the operations we're going to be doing. So I'm going to choose something that it looks kind of bright and blue for that one, and I'm going to give a fill to this one, and I'm going to choose that pink. So this is the design. If we send it like this to the laser cutter, we're going to have a little bit of a mess. So what we want to do is try the different treatments. So I'm going to start with the first request, which is this inset look. And so I'm going to, because I have my design here, just set like that. I don't want to make any changes to it because I want to try different things. So that's why I'm going to create a new component, clicking the plus here. And we're going to start with the first version, which is going to be, we're going to use Flatten. So I can grab my initial, should spell that. So here in my Flatten thing, I'm going to grab my initial name, I'm going to place it right on the center. So it's a little bit like grabbing a copy of it. But then I'm going to select it, and I'm going to apply this modifier called Flatten. It's the one right here. And so at first look, it looks like it didn't do anything. But if we select the Flatten and then look at the different options, the important one, the one that we really want here, is this one called Distribute. So it's going to separate each layer by color. So it separates the swirly name from this letter. And additionally, I can select this one called Stroke Result. So I don't have any fills. So this is literally what I'm going to cut. And I did prepare a little, a little kind of show and tell here with I cut some of these. So you can copy these or go and export an SVG and send it to your laser so you can like cut these out of two different materials, like a dark one and a light one, which is just what I did. So let me show you. So the downside of this technique, I think, is that like the H cuts like that in little pieces. So you end up with a sort of little puzzle to solve, which you might like. And then the other section, because I use connected text, it cuts like these as a single piece. And so then your job is going to be, or the job you have given yourself is to assemble these pieces as a puzzle, which I did in advance because this might take me too much time live. So so here it is. I placed it on a piece of masking tape just to hold it in place. But it's labor intensive, but I think there is a good payoff. I think this looks kind of cool. Like that inset look is kind of neat. You get a kind of like, a single layer, it's thin, and then you get the nice separation between the things. It's just a matter of like, assembling the puzzle pieces. So there is a payoff to this one. I think I like it. So I think that's that hopefully this answers the question for the tutorial. So it's maybe too simple of a question. The idea was simply apply flatten to your design. Size it, then apply flatten, then distribute the layers, and you're good to go. But I didn't want to stop there. I think there are other options we can explore because some people, you might not want to do that whole like puzzle assembly. So I think we should try the next version. So I'm gonna go ahead and just create another component. So to try a different treatment. So I'm gonna call this one the Weld and Score. And so I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna grab the first one that I made. I'm gonna place it right in the center. And then I'm gonna try the next treatment, which is the Weld and Score. So I'm gonna select it, go to modify, and there's this option here to the very bottom called Weld and Score. And with this one, we see the results immediately. And so what Weld and Score does is that it joins everything, but then the parts where there's an overlap, it's gonna highlight them with scores. Just to be clear, like the difference between these and a plain weld is if I apply a plain weld, or like the union here, you can see how it becomes unreadable, like because the letter disappears. So that's the reason that we would use Weld and Score. So let's go back to Weld and Score over here. And so we get it to be joined, but when we get to apply that scoring operation, and scoring is when you, it's kind of like cutting, it's just fast, but you usually do it at a lower power or a higher speed, so you just get like a nice marking. And so I went ahead and like cut one of these two, just to show you the treatment. So here it is. So I left it unmasked. Sorry, I left the mask on just to like show you that this is the back. So we can see that it's completely joined, single operation. But one neat thing about leaving the scores is that, after the fact, you can go ahead and like remove your masking. And I think if you're gonna paint, because I think with the Weld and Score you would find it, you would do some painting. You could like unmask the parts that you're not gonna paint, and then leave the other one masked, and then paint what you need to paint. So this is the Weld and Score. So I took the mask off because like, I don't know, maybe if I want this H to be a different color, I could like, paint over. I don't know, masking is so often complicated, but like there are tricks to do where if you want to like do painting. So it is also labor intensive in a way if you want the contrast, because if I check this out, if I unmask the name, you'll see, it's the same color. But this is an option. So this is what Weld and Score would do for us. I made a mess with all the masking anyway. But we don't have to stop there. I think there is a third option that we can apply. So the third option I wanted to highlight was these. Let's see. So I'm going to create another component just to. The third option we're going to call the layered, simply layered. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab that initial one that I made, place it right in the center. And so here the treatment is, this one is also very simple to do, but like it's convenient. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to apply this modifier called layered stack. So when I do that, it kind of looks like nothing happened again, but if I go here on the layer stack options, there are two options. One is distribute, so I want that. So I'm going to click on distribute. So as you can see, it separated the layers by color. but it left the weld on this one, and then I can actually check stroke results. So I just get the outline. So that's just convenient. When you send it to the laser, sometimes you don't want to have the fill, because a lot of lasers understand the fill as engraving operations. So that's the reason to change it to stroke result. And so this one is just a quick and convenient way of creating 2 layers. And so I went ahead and cut it. What this one would save time in that we don't have to score this section, because these are the 2 layers. So I got that section, and then I got this section. And so in this case, I don't think it's necessary to have the scoring, because these well, that broke. Because these outside letters, actually this gives me an opportunity to show you something, because these outside letters are going to serve as a guide to kind of glue this one on top. So I think this one is a cool look, this kind of layer stack. I think, of course, the downside is that you might be using additional material. You have to cut 2 different materials, and then you get this kind of thicker situation going on, because it's it's double, and sometimes you just don't want that particular look. So that was the layered stack option, and so I think this is a nice chance to explain. It shows us exactly what the difference between some of these look very similar, but they're different. So with Flatten we get the cutout, with Weld and Score we get the scoring here, and layered is very similar to Flatten, except we get this kind of join on it. So that the way that letter broke, this is a common situation. And this was this is a common situation, and there is a fix. There's an easy fix, which is the following. The connected text font has an option, which I probably forgot to check when I cut these. So if I select this one, it's hardly one. If I look at the connected text options, there is this option here that says thicken. So that one helps you with the situation, in that if you just thicken a little bit, then you can make a lot of fonts work with your laser without creating these. So I think that the specific part where mine broke was right here, this kind of very, very thin line. So I think for my example, I should have thickened it for something like that, 1%, or at least a 0.5% to give it a little bit more heft. And the nice thing here is that I only need to thicken it here, and that's immediately going to apply to all my different cuts. So yeah, this should be the way to go. I think one thing I mean, now that we have an overview of all of the 3 different treatments, I think we could do better here. We did our design. So let's see, the 3 different treatments was this inset look, Weld and Score, and then layered. I could clean that mask. But I think now we can actually just generate different designs. Because, I mean, right now it's relatively easy. If I go here and I have to go and click on the text, let's say I want to create a different one. Something like I want to change the name to Becca. So I need to click here and change it. And the neat thing about the way I just did it is that now that I did it here, it's going to apply to all my different treatments. All 3 of them will have the letters, but we can make it a little bit nicer, where we can just extract those as parameters. So that just saves someone else the time of going to click to the right spot. So the way I can do that is I can select, I'm going to start with the initial. I'm going to select the initial, and I'm going to go here to the text, and I'm going to click on the tree and the dot, 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 and I'm going to select extract as parameter. And so I'm going to call that parameter the initial. And actually, I want to move it to the project. So I'm going to move parameter to project. So I get my initial here, so now I can change the initial whenever I want without having to like click specifically on the thing. And now I'm gonna do the same thing with the connected text. So I'm gonna do the same, extract as parameter. I'm gonna call that the name, and I'm gonna move it to the project. Yeah, there could be a way to automate, like, have a single one and extract the first letter, but it's an extra nicety. Yeah. So for example, if I have like Alana, that's something that could work. Go back to that H hardly. I mean, I suppose there's an option where someone wants a different letter. I don't know. And then I can present it. I don't know. I can see these as an interesting, like, I don't know. For example, these people have a business, and they have to generate, they have to generate these for whatever name that they have. And they can quickly do it by creating a template, for example, or you could quickly do it by creating your own template. So I'm going to make this into a template. So the way I do that, now that I have all my names kind of in a row, is I can go into the README, which is a sort of view of the project, really. And here in the README, I'm going to add a heading. So I'm going to call the first one the preview. And I'm going to embed the component. So to embed in component, I can just, I get this big bar, and there's an option here that says component. So I'm going to just put the first component that I made. So that's like my preview. Here I can change things just by changing the letter. And then, I don't know, maybe if you want to make this listing and offer people different options, different treatments, I don't know, maybe you do different listings for that. But anyway, this would be like in the background of your production. So I think one option would be, I'm going to name it. I'm going to call it, I don't know, what do we call that one? Like, we call it inset text. Inset. And so I'm going to embed that component called, the one I called Flatten. Maybe I could just rename it inset. So this is the SVG you would download in this case if you wanted the inset. Then for the next one, I could do that Weld and Score. I suppose I'm just going to call it Weld and Score. And I'm going to embed my Weld and Score component. And for the next one, I have the layered. I like the heading, layered. And I'm going to embed that component. So I figure this is a really quick way of generating the different things. So, at any given time, I can be like, okay, I want my name. So I can do something like this. And then immediately I can select which treatment I want in particular for my name. I think that's neat. Like, you can select different treatments for this. A question here, it says, will you share your template to the site? Save us from recreating. Yes, I will do that. I can share it right now, actually, and this gives me the opportunity to show you how to do it. I might add this video and some other descriptions here when later on, but I can share it right now. So whenever you want to share a project, you can go to this share option, and there are two options. One is unlisted and one is public. I'm going to choose unlisted. That means it doesn't necessarily appear on the explore page. We'll talk about that for a moment. And then I can copy the link, and now you have access to this project. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste it in the comments. So here's the project. And so you can when you're ready, you can just take this particular project and do what you want to do with it. I think, for example, additional things I would like to do is maybe have the ability to immediately change the font or even move things around a little bit. And so in order to do that, we would do something similar. We would just go back here into the editor. No, actually, you know, one thing I would like to do is to be able to change the size, because right now we have it set to 18 inches. And I suppose someone might want to be like, I want the 18 version, the 24, or the 30 version. So that would be an interesting change. But like, let me finish my thought with the font. So if we wanted to just extract the font to change any of these, I can go back to the connected text. Here's the font that applies to that. And I can extract it by going to this ... and extract it as a parameter. So now that appears here, and I'm going to move it to the project parameters by clicking the 3 dots and move parameter to project. And I can actually be specific here. I can call it the name font. So now if I look at the README, I have it right here. So the name font, if I can just like look at different fonts, which is sweet. And then that font change, that it immediately applied to everything else. So you can see it. You can see it in action right there. So that would be an option that I would like to have. I suppose the other option would be, yeah, I don't know how much do you like. Yeah, we could add the, you know, in the similar fashion, we could add the font for the initial. So I can go back here to the initial, extract it as parameter, move it to the project, and give it a name, initial font. I can reorder these things. Initial font, name font, there we go. I would like, you know, like these looks like a bit much, like the size of these letters. So I would like actually access to the scale, because if I change the font, I would like to change the scale sometimes, given the preview. So I think I would like go to this text and extract the scale. So that would be this one. So I can extract it as a parameter, move it to the project, and then that would be the name scale. So if I look at it, you know, for example, with this preview, I can go here and say, no, you know what? I want that to be something like this. Yeah. Cool. So I think these are enough changes. I think you know, you can like make, you know, adding more parameters as you see fit for your own projects. You can, of course, like go back and edit things. Like the one I was thinking would be interesting. It's just it's an aesthetic choice. It's not necessarily following what these people did, but I don't know. Some of them I think look interesting if you kind of rotate them a little bit, and with the rotation, like skew them. I think that could be an interesting look. So you could add that to your own project. All right, cool. So I think that's good. That's half an hour. I need to update. So I just added this initial font and name scale. So in order for you to see that, I need to go to share and actually publish this version. So I'm just going to hit that button. So now you can see that version is the same link. And you can start playing with it like right away. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the questions. I really appreciate it. And please let me know if you have any more questions or ideas for tutorials. That would be great. All right, cool. I hope you have a great day. Bye.